Coming up on 9:30 Eastern here on BT, welcome back. Donald Trump's tariffs against Canada are on hold, but the pressure is on to stave off the president's threats to upend bilateral trade for good. Here to discuss the urgent push underway is Minister of International Trade, Mary Ng. Minister, thank you so much for making the time this morning.
Very good to be here with you, Caryn, and really looking forward to this conversation.
I guess I want to know what the next month looks like for you. What is your plan as Minister of International Trade to really help Canada escape the threat of these tariffs in the long term?
I think there are a number of things. You heard the Prime Minister, and I think many Canadians over the last many days talk about buying Canadians and supporting your Canadian businesses. I would say to Canadians, keep doing that. Look for goods that are Canadian to keep doing that work of supporting Canadians. But at the same time, I'm Canada's trade minister. So my job is to also make sure that Canadian businesses understand that there are also other options. I just finished negotiating a free trade deal with a country like Ecuador just a couple of days ago. But Canada's trade infrastructure is really robust. We have access to over 65% of the world's economy. I would say to Canadian businesses, if you're currently buying one way, if you are looking to import, a part or whatever it is that you need for your business, might you be able to do it from some other part of the world where Canada has a trade agreement? From Europe, from the Asia Pacific. I will be in Europe at the end of this week. I have a trade mission going to Australia, Singapore, and Brunei next week with hundreds of Canadian businesses coming along with me. That had always been on the books for a very long time, but diversifying our trade and making sure that Canadian businesses and entrepreneurs have options always. I think that is just the prudent and smart thing to do. And then in addition to that, my colleagues and I will continue doing this advocacy with the Americans so that the message, which is tariffs hurt American consumers. As the biggest customer to 36 states, this is a really important trading relationship. But tariffs on goods that are imported from Canada just simply make it more expensive for Americans.
Now, I know you've been working really for years in the background to get new trade deals signed. And I know we can look, east or west to help alleviate the impact of possible U.S. tariffs. But I mean, I imagine it's going to be hard to replicate the level of integration and interoperability that we have with the U.S. anywhere else in the world. Do we even have another option for a major trading partner?
So you're absolutely right. This will take time. The way I describe trade agreements to Canadians, I said, think of your government building a bridge, which we have now done. We have many bridges to 1.5 billion consumers around the world. But businesses are going to have to walk across that bridge and find those opportunities. We will be there to support that work. The provinces, the territories, we do this as Team Canada as well. But do we have major trading partners? Absolutely we do. We have a great trading agreement with the European Union, which we've seen increases in the double digits since 2017, since it's come into place. We have also seen increases in trade with Asia Pacific countries through the CPTPP, so the Trans-Pacific Partnership. So countries like Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Vietnam, Singapore, they're all part of that. I just finished negotiating and concluded in December a trade agreement with Indonesia. Indonesia is the fourth most populous country in the world next to the United States. So these are market access for Canadian businesses. And you're right, it will take time. And I do think that Canadians today are waking up to say, are there alternatives? Could we be supplying, could we be getting our supplies in from any of these other trading partners? Yes, it will take time, but I do think that Canadians are looking that way. And we certainly have done the work over the last 10 years to make sure that this important trade network and infrastructure is there.
Well, while I do take your point, like some parts cross the border between Canada, the U.S., Mexico multiple times before they even hit market. I just don't know how you duplicate that.
You know what? I think what you do is you diversify, and what we have to keep doing is to ensure that we have access and continue doing this really important work in North America. I'm not saying at all that this relationship is not important. In fact, it is, and it continues to be. We trade over $1 trillion with the United States. I mean, in the short time that you and I will be speaking, we will probably have just done $10 million in the time that we have been speaking. So that order of magnitude is absolutely important. And you're right. If you think about a car, it crosses the border about 7 times before a finished product is made. I talk about a hamburger. how does a hamburger get made these days, right? I mean, wheat from Canada exported in the United States, finished bread and a bun that might come up here from, from one of the states, lettuce and tomato from, from Mexico, cattle that is, exported from Canada into the United States, processed and, back in here. So you're completely right. That integration has been designed over decades and decades of this trade relationship. So very, very important. Let's keep access to that, but let's also diversify.
I'm at time, but I wanted to ask you really, really quickly, Control Room, just bear with me. Should Parliament not be sitting right now? Should parliamentarians not be debating and discussing how to move forward with this threat hanging over our heads?
I think what you're seeing is the government and the Prime Minister leading and doing this work as a government, but we're not doing this alone. The Prime Minister meets with the First Ministers every week and sometimes more if needed, so the premiers and territorial leaders. He has a council that is made up of labor leaders as well as business leaders that he engages with. I and my colleagues on cabinet are part of a Canada-US Cabinet Committee. We make decisions, we make recommendations, we are doing the work and governing, and Canadians should be very confident that this work is taking place. And you saw on Monday that Prime Minister Trudeau has done that work to stave off these tariffs for at least another 30 days.
Okay, Minister Mariang, I have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Caryn.
Now,